What's going on, everybody? It is the Going Over Big Time podcast. I am Mike Charlip, and today I am here to discuss fantasy booking for WrestleMania 42. WrestleMania 42 is on the horizon. We are a couple of weeks away from WrestleMania 42, and I am not very optimistic about where things are going. Um, the Royal Rumble was what it was, and predictable winners, predictable result. Um, and I just don't have good faith in the build to this show at all, really, because I haven't had good faith in WWE in a very long time. WWE has been really bad, and we've talked about this a lot on this podcast. WWE seems creatively bankrupt. Like they have no new ideas and they don't know how to make new stars, make other people look credible, make new people look credible. So they keep bringing back Brock Lesnar. They keep bringing back people that are not around all that often but were big at one point. Brock Lesnar being the prime example of that. Um, they no longer have the option to bring back John Cena. They no longer have the option to get Triple H to do matches. And Roman Reigns is not going to be around forever. He's already barely around now, and he won the Royal Rumble and is going to WrestleMania. And it's most likely in the night 2 main event, right? Um, WWE is not good right now. Everything is the same. Everything is formulaic. Everything. Nothing is interesting. And I hate that because I don't hate WWE. I want to love WWE. I've been watching WWE since I was 10. I am now 35. And as I've talked about in the past on here by myself or with Alan, this period in the last year has been the least that I've watched WWE programming. I only watch Raw and pay-per-views now. I don't watch SmackDown because that show is unwatchable. I don't watch NXT because they don't give me anything that I want to see ever. And it just isn't interesting. I can't be bothered to watch Evolve. I can't be bothered to watch Main Event. I can't put all of this time into a company that does not care at all because they're just making money hand over fist. And it doesn't matter if I care because no matter what, they're going to say they are successful because they are making money. They aren't creatively successful, and that's what I care about. They aren't putting on interesting shows, and that's what I care about. They aren't putting on interesting wrestling matches, and that's what I care about more than anything other than of those other things. And because it's supposed to be a wrestling show, and they clearly don't care that it's supposed to be a wrestling show. So now that we are 61 days out from WrestleMania and we know who's facing what champion after winning the Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns winning the men's, Liv Morgan winning the women's Royal Rumbles, respectively, and Roman Reigns pretty much already solidifying his pick. He is going to face CM Punk. Now, CM Punk is supposed to defend his title once again against Finn Balor because, as I mentioned earlier, they are creatively bankrupt. Finn Balor got a shot just because they were in Ireland one time, even though he hadn't won a singles match in years, multiple years. And now he wants another shot because he couldn't be put into the Royal Rumble because Adam Pearce told him that the Rumble was full, even though why did we need La Parka in there? Why did we need Mr. Iguana in there when you had the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia and those people had no idea who those people were? You could have put Finn Balor in the Royal Rumble. And yeah, so Finn Balor just decided that if Adam Pearce is not going to give him a title shot, he's just going to attack the champion. And the champion's going to want to give him another shot because the champion got beat up. I have always hated this trope in wrestling. I especially hate it in WWE because they do it constantly. It's bad writing. It's bad storytelling to be like, hey, CM Punk already beat this guy clean without any interference. Or you know, I don't even remember the Finn Balor CM Punk match. That's how much I don't care, unfortunately. But he already beat the guy. So why are you giving the guy another shot just because he beat you up? That's stupid. Just because he attacked you. You should go out of your way to say, hey, maybe win some matches first, and then you can earn a shot at the title. Because that's how things should be fucking done. And I will say it till the end of time, until it is done. And this should be done in all companies. You shouldn't just be getting title shots because you ask for a title shot or because you attack the champion. You should build momentum, win matches, and earn a title shot. This is how it should be done for every single person. The Royal Rumble winners are different. They entered the Rumble and they earned a shot. Now, you could argue anybody that was in the Royal Rumble should not be in Elimination Chamber because why are they just getting another opportunity when they already lost their opportunity to earn a shot? That doesn't seem to matter. Anybody who is in the Royal Rumble could just enter the Elimination Chamber if they're in a qualifying match, which is also very stupid. But that's not the point of the conversation. So CM Punk is going to beat Finn Balor. If he doesn't, if Finn Balor somehow beats CM Punk, then CM Punk is going to win it back before Mania. We know that for a fact. Because the Mania match is not going to be Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns. The Mania match is not going to be Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor versus CM Punk. The Mania match is going to be CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. That's set in stone. So even if CM Punk gets a 2-week reign, Finn Balor gets a 2-week reign, which you could argue will be just as stupid because he shouldn't be getting a title shot in the first place because he already lost to the champion with the title on the line. But regardless of that, I love Finn Balor. I wish they would use him better, and I wish they would use him to a way that, makes him actually look credible. Because right now he doesn't look credible. He just looks like a bitch who's been crying about not being a champion and doesn't want to be a tag champion. That's stupid. I will say that over and over again. I don't care about this storyline at all. Will I be happy if Finn Balor gets a 2-week title reign until CM Punk wins it back so he could ultimately face Roman at WrestleMania? Sure. I'll be happy if Finn Balor gets any kind of world title reign because he hasn't gotten one since 2016. Because he got injured when he won the first ever Universal title and hasn't been given a shot since. But this storyline is not good. And Roman versus CM Punk can be good. They have already laid the groundwork for that. They had a pretty good promo, which people have been divisive about because they keep bringing up the Colt Cabana podcast, which was, over a decade ago at this point. They keep bringing up that, Roman had to fight and claw because of that podcast, and people hated him even more because of CM Punk, and that's why Roman hates CM Punk. There can be other reasons why these guys can feud. You don't have to keep going to the well over and over again. But again, this is a creatively bankrupt company. They don't know how to do that. And that's unfortunate. So I'm hoping that even if Finn Balor, like I said, even if Finn Balor gets a 2-week reign out of Elimination Chamber, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it does, because Elimination Chamber's in Chicago. I mean, WWE doesn't have a precedent set for hometown people winning in their hometown. WWE was always the opposite. WWE loved to have people lose in their hometown. Even after Vince, that's been that's been a mainstay in WWE. So who knows? But either way, the match is going to remain CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, and I'm hoping that CM Punk wins because I can't do another championship reign of a guy who only shows up 4 times a year. I can't do it. I especially on Raw, which is the only show that I watch. If if Roman Reigns wins the championship on Raw, there's nothing to fight for on Raw because he's going to be gone after this show until SummerSlam. And that just doesn't make sense. So if this match does happen, which I assume it is, they're basically building it up as it is, CM Punk must win. And we'll see. All right. So I'm gonna start from the bottom up, I guess of importance, or I put together a card of 14 matches. Again, I'm not the best at putting cards together that end up happening. I think maybe every time that I fantasy booked something, maybe 1 or 2 things that I picked actually happened. So I'm gonna start from the bottom. So I was trying to figure out what to do with the Vision, right? And there was a lot of stuff going on, like creatively, that isn't working with that group, unfortunately. Again, despite my disdain for Logan Paul, which will never go away because he is a horrible human being. I was trying to put something together with LA Knight and the Vision, but couldn't seemingly put together a tag or a 6-man that would make sense. So I just made a singles match between Logan Paul and LA Knight. We've seen this match before, of course. I mean, who knows at this point, right? We don't know what's going on with Braun Breaker right now. We don't know what's going on with Seth right now. I fully expect both of them to be there, which we will talk about later. But yeah, I put Logan Paul and LA Knight down just because I couldn't seemingly I was trying to maybe do a tag match, Logan Paul and Bronson Reed versus LA Knight and somebody else. But the only person that came up that I didn't already put in another match was Dragon Lee. And that's a match we've seen before, or is a match that should only happen on Raw, right? It just is what it is at this point. I mean, you could seemingly do Bronson Reed versus LA Knight, but they're not going to keep Logan Paul off of WrestleMania. As much as I would love that, I would love Logan Paul not to be a part of WrestleMania because I would love Logan Paul not to be a part of wrestling. I would love for Logan Paul to just go away forever and never be acknowledged ever because he's a horrible person. But that's not going to happen. They're going to put Logan Paul on this card. And that's why I put him in a singles match with LA Knight. LA Knight needs something. LA Knight is over as hell. But they're not going to make him a world champion because they're too busy trading the championships between Cody and Drew and Roman and CM Punk and Seth and not making new people. And LA Knight is not young. That we know that. He's over 40. But it's not fair. It's not fair that the guy is as over as he is, And it's not on the level of like a yes movement where they have to do it, right? But they should do it because they should care about what their fans want to see, and their fans want to see LA Knight. LA Knight right now is 43, and he's not getting any younger. I mean, he's in great shape and doesn't do anything that I don't think he would be able to do at 50 that he does at 43 if he wants to wrestle for another 7 to 10 years. Um he doesn't do anything that flashy that would have to make him change his style in a decade or two. Like in a decade. I can't imagine he'll be wrestling into his 60s, but the guy is ready. He's been ready. He's not getting any younger. Do something with him that matters. And I just wanted to get him on the card because I can't imagine they have any idea what to do with him at all. And we'll see honestly where they go here. I mean, for all I know, they could randomly put together a sixth man that isn't on my card, but or a random tag match or an LA Knight versus Bronson Reed singles match. But because of this, Bronson Reed is not on my card at all. Which is unfortunate. In my head, I was trying to get him on there, but I just couldn't because I couldn't think of a credible tag team partner for LA Knight because everybody else was put into something. All right, so the next match that I have down, and I can't imagine that this is going to happen, but so they usually do a ladder match every WrestleMania weekend, whether it's on WrestleMania or on NXT. They never do a ladder match on both because they do stand and deliver on the Saturday WrestleMania at like 3 p.m. or whatever it is, or I think now they do it at noon because the WrestleMania pre-show starts at like 4. So if they don't have a ladder match on stand and deliver, then they should have a ladder match on WrestleMania. And it just makes sense to make that for the US title. And there's a lot of guys that are kind of just intertwined right now that aren't really doing anything on SmackDown. Again, I don't really watch SmackDown, but I keep tabs on what people are doing. So Carmelo Hayes is the current US champ, and it's very possible the US title just doesn't get defended on WrestleMania at all because WWE doesn't seem to care. I know the women's US title's not getting defended on Mania, and I didn't even put it down, which is very unfortunate for Julia, but because they don't seem to care about her at all. They definitely don't care about that title. But for the men's United States title, I put down an 8-man ladder match. Again, just kind of to get all these people on the card because they deserve to be on the card. Carmelo Hayes defending against Trick Williams, Aleister Black, Ilya Dragunov, Damian Priest, Matt Cardona, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Randy Orton. I was trying to find something for Randy Orton and I just couldn't. Because the only thing that anybody wants to see him do is face Cody Rhodes for the title. And Cody isn't the champion right now, and they aren't putting Randy in the world title picture right now. So put him in a US ladder match, sure. He doesn't have to win it, obviously. But everybody that I named, I think, deserves to be on the card because everybody that I named is not getting used to their potential yet. I mean, Trick Williams just came to the main roster, and they're putting him in big matches pretty much right away, right? But Carmelo Hayes is only now getting an opportunity after being called up in 24, being wasted for over a year, being put in a team with The Miz that nobody wanted, and then finally getting a U.S. title. Aleister Black just had that really long feud with Damian Priest that apparently did not matter because he hasn't been used since. Ilya Dragunov just came back from injury and won the U.S. title in an open challenge, then lost it to Carmelo Hayes, which is fine. It was an open challenge. That's fine. You can keep building him, put him in a match like this, put him in feuds that matter after this, because he deserves that. He's great. at what he does. Damian Priest, former world champion, had a marquee match with Drew McIntyre last year that nobody cared about. Former world champion, former US champion. How is he not in something right now? So yeah, I have him here. Matt Cardona, since he's come back, WWE doesn't care about him. Didn't think they would. They just wanted to bring him back just to have him. It's not surprising at all. I think he's going to be put into the same exact role he was in before he left. Again, not surprising at all. It's very unfortunate because this is what WWE does. Look what they did to Santos Escobar. They brought him back just so that he wouldn't sign with AEW and then didn't use him for months until they put him on AAA, which I can't be bothered to watch AAA either because that's just becoming WWE's version of AAA, and it's not good. Simple as that. There might be some good matches on there once in a while, but I cannot be bothered to watch another WWE product, especially if they're not going to care about it, because they very clearly do not. Shinsuke just came back, feuding with Tama Tonga. I mean, arguably, you could probably get Tama Tonga in here, but I mean, like, I don't know if that's feasible. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's another title I don't have on this card is the WWE Tag Team Championships, because again, that's tailor made for WWE to put that on the SmackDown before Mania, because they love to put random titles that should be on Mania on the SmackDown before Mania. So that's why I don't have Solo Sikoa in a match, because I think he's going to be on the SmackDown after Mania. That's why I don't have Tama Tonga in a match, because I think he's going to be on the SmackDown after Mania, even though he's been feuding on and off with Shinsuke. But yeah, all these guys. I mean, and like I said, I couldn't find something feasible for Randy Orton to do, other than because again, all that's really left for him to do is feud with Cody. I don't want to see him face Gunther again. I know that it could happen because Gunther's doing this legend killer type gimmick, the career killer gimmick. And you could probably have that match here. But I just don't want to see that right now. Again, I kind of had a hard time putting together a match for Gunther. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But yeah, I think you got to have all these guys on the card. Again, WWE doesn't seem to care if these guys are on the card. I think we'll be lucky to even have a US title match on the WrestleMania card. But and again, like I said, this is just something that WWE does. If they have a ladder match on Stand to Deliver, they're not having a ladder match on WrestleMania. They'll do something else. They'll do some random match that doesn't matter, like a tag team showcase. Remember when they did that at WrestleMania 40 and nobody cared about it? So I don't know. I just think that this is what they should do. Put together a big US title match. Make it matter. Make people care about it. Make all these people, make every challenger credible. Have Matt Cardona win some matches, maybe. That would be nice. But yeah, we'll see. All right. The next match is something I fully expect to happen. And I just, all right. So a lot of people are saying this should happen on a AAA show, but we know how WWE works. Everybody knows how WWE works. Chad Gable started doing this El Grande Americano gimmick. Then he got injured. And then they just randomly decided to put that gimmick on Ludwig Kaiser. And Ludwig Kaiser has been in that gimmick since then, and has brought it over to AAA and used it a lot in AAA. He's gotten over in AAA. Now, Chad Gable just came back from injury at the Royal Rumble. They, of course, did the Spider-Man pointing meme where you had two people dressed as El Grande Americano in the match. Excuse me. And now, Chad Gable, who was a heel before he got injured, is just a babyface because he came back from injury. That's what happens. People get injured, they come back, they become babyfaces. And now, Ludwig Kaiser is still in the gimmick and has Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate pretending to be Rio and Bravo Americano. And the Creeds are nowhere to be found, which is mind-boggling. However, one thing that I absolutely hate about this storyline that I think has been acknowledged by multiple people. We talked about how Chad Gable was a heel before he got injured, and now all of a sudden he's a face. Michael Cole on commentary before Chad Gable got injured was very adamant that that was Chad Gable, and now he has not mentioned it once. Now all of a sudden he likes the OG Grande Americano. Now all of a sudden Corey Graves thinks that Ludwig is the original. Instead of people who everybody knows Chad was the original, everybody knows that Ludwig is a second incarnation, commentary treating people like acting dumb. Commentary acting dumb over this is one of the things that I hate the most. And WWE loves to do this. WWE loves to make their commentary sound dumb because they think that their audience is not paying attention. Because they book everything for people who don't pay attention. They book everything for casual fans. Oh, if a casual fan sees this, they might find it interesting, and it won't matter. So they don't make commentary care about it, and don't make commentary sound smart when talking about it. I absolutely hate that. It's one of the things about WWE that I hate the most. Making your audience feel stupid because your commentary is acting stupid. It's ridiculously dumb. Everybody knows that's Chad Gable. Michael Cole knew it was Chad Gable before he got injured, and now he's pretending that it isn't. Everybody knows that that's Ludwig Kaiser. Michael Cole knew that and is now pretending that it isn't. And Corey Graves is pretending like the original Grande is not the original Grande when everybody knows that it is. I absolutely hate it. I get the storyline. This is not new. This is something that has been done in wrestling for decades. Somebody in a gimmick, and then you got an imposter in the gimmick. This has been happening for years. And I get it. But making your audience feel stupid while doing it doesn't help the product. And pretending that you don't know that that's Chad Gable is ridiculous. Pretending that you don't know that that's Ludwig Kaiser is ridiculous. Because your audience like me who pays attention is not stupid. And I'm not calling casual fans stupid. Don't get that twisted. Casual fans just don't watch every single week. So they don't know about the people that are under there. Unless they watch every week. Unless they were watching for months before. So I think that they're going to have a singles match between these two. OG Grande Americano and El Grande Americano number 2. And it'll be a mask versus mask. And even though a lot of people think this should happen in Mexico, it should happen in AAA, WWE doesn't care about that. Maybe they will and not put this on Mania, but we've talked about this before in the past. You got an American pretending to be Mexican, and you got a German pretending to be Mexican, fighting over who gets to be the fake Mexican, and Ray Phoenix can barely get on the card. A real Mexican. That is crazy. But this is what WWE does. They don't care. And I'm going to talk about Ray Phoenix later because I actually do have something for him to do that WWE should have been doing from the beginning. But yeah, I think what I think is going to happen is because Kaiser is so over in Mexico, I think Chad's going to lose the mask. Because Chad is not over in Mexico like Kaiser is. Kaiser is over in Mexico, so he can keep doing the gimmick in Mexico. And that's fine, I guess. If it stops them from doing this shit on Raw every week and pretending that one is not the other and pretending they don't know who's under the mask when we knew from the beginning it was Gable, when we knew from the beginning that the other one was Kaiser. I kind of wish that Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate weren't dragged into this because they're just getting wasted. Tyler Bates' 20s have been wasted. And yes, he was injured for a little, but then he came back. And I mean, years ago, they said he was like going to be like the chosen one. When he won the UK championship tournament, he was 19 and he's now 29 and isn't doing anything except being a lackey and pretending to be a Mexican wrestler. It's ridiculous. This guy is so good at wrestling. Pete Dunne is so good at wrestling. Imagine them in Japan. Imagine them in anywhere but WWE. And that is not including AAA because AAA is now WWE. That does not count. I hate that they're being dragged down in this. I hate it. But yeah, I think this match is going to happen. It's going to happen at Mania, and I think Ludwig is going to win. So New Americano is going to retain the mask. And Chad will go back to being Chad and hopefully get used to his potential because he is amazing. Always has been. But because he's not that tall, he doesn't get the respect that he deserves, even though Kurt Angle was not that tall. They're basically the same. The only difference is that Chad didn't win a gold medal. He was just in the Olympics. It's crazy to me, but we'll see. All right, next up, a match that I think was teased in the Royal Rumble. Now, originally, I was going to have Brock versus Gunther, but it seems like they're building to Gunther facing Brock at SummerSlam because SummerSlam is in Minnesota. And hopefully ends his career at SummerSlam. But because of that, I decided to put Brock in a match with Obafemi. Now, they teased this in the Royal Rumble. I didn't like how they handled Obafemi in the Royal Rumble. Yes, he had the first 5 eliminations, but after that, it didn't matter. I hated that. He should have had more than 5 eliminations. He should have eliminated Brock to set up this feud. He should have dominated the Royal Rumble. He didn't have to win, but he should have dominated. And he didn't. He just eliminated the first 5 guys, and then that was it. I don't have to talk about how much I dislike Brock Lesnar being on the card. And this is before allegations, before him showing up on documentation in a court case, before all of that. I was just tired of Brock Lesnar in general because of what he's doing now is basically what he's been doing for the last 12 years. Recklessly suplexing people, hitting 3 F5s, and then going home. I don't care to see that ever again. Brock brings nothing to the product. Nothing that I want. Nothing that I want to see. I want to see good wrestling matches. Brock doesn't give me good wrestling matches. It's not interesting to see him spam suplexes. It's not interesting to see him ragdoll people and almost injure them. It's not interesting at all. And Brock, in my opinion, if this is the end of his run, WrestleMania to SummerSlam, if this is the end of his run, he should never win a match again. Ever. Because if his career is ending at SummerSlam, he should just be putting people over. So Obafemi must beat him if this match happens. Must beat him. It is no question, no argument. There's nothing that can be said that would make me book this match other than Obafemi winning. Nothing. Not a single argument can be made. Obafemi is it. Obafemi is ready. Obafemi has everything. Obafemi should be a main eventer now. That's how good he is. Brock Lesnar, when he came in 2002, debuted the night after WrestleMania 18, was champion in 3 months. Sorry, 4 months. Champion in 4 months. Because he was dominating people, won the King of the Ring handily, and then beat The Rock at SummerSlam. Literally, that's what Obafemi should be doing. That. So, if this is going to be the beginning of his true run, because all he's been doing is beating up jobbers on Raw and SmackDown, because quote unquote he hasn't been signed to a brand yet. He should beat Brock Lesnar without a scratch. He should beat Brock Lesnar handily, like Goldberg did at that Survivor Series match. I do not want to see this match last longer than 5 minutes. I do not want to see Brock Lesnar get any offense because I don't want to see Brock Lesnar ever again. Ever. So if this is the match that happens, because Brock is going to be on Mania, there's no question that that's happening. I don't know who else you would book him against if he's not facing Gunther at Mania. It's got to be Obafemi. Obafemi's got to beat him handily. Handily. No questions asked. There's no argument that can be made to the contrary. Not one. All right. Speaking of Gunther, so I talked about how I was struggling to find something for Gunther to do on this show because he needs to have a credible opponent and it needs to be a singles match because Gunther is on the run of his life right now. And that's while not being a champion. He's retired Goldberg. He's retired John Cena. He's retired AJ Styles from WWE. Not saying that he needs to do that here, but he should face somebody with credibility, somebody on the level of an AJ Styles, John Cena, and I wouldn't put Goldberg on the level of any of those people because Goldberg is horrible, but Goldberg is considered a legend. So that's why I put him in a singles match with Rey Mysterio. Now, you might be wondering why I would choose Rey Mysterio, and it was because, like I said, it needs to be somebody credible on the level of a John Cena or AJ Styles with a legendary background. He's already a Hall of Famer. He's already the best luchador ever. He's already all of those things. So put him in a match with Gunther, and it doesn't need to be a squash. We've seen Rey have put up a good fight against bigger guys, but Gunther should beat him. And I just couldn't think of, and again, it could just be Randy Orton. That's not the match that I want to put on the card. But everybody else that you would want to see Gunther in a singles match with is not available. Um, in the card that I put together. Um, so yeah, that's why I picked Rey Mysterio, and I think based on the fact that like he's doing stuff with Dragon Lee right now, I guess. Um, in the defense of AJ Styles, it only makes sense to go up the ladder from there. After Dragon Lee, he gets Rey Mysterio, and that's the match that you do that at WrestleMania, right? Because yeah, like I said, there's really nobody else right now other than Randy Orton or Gunther to face, because he's not going to be in a world title picture right now. He's not going to go for a secondary title. He needs to be in a marquee singles match. A marquee singles match would be with a legendary luchador. So that's why I have that match. And I still think it would be a fun match. Rey Mysterio, he is very good working with big guys. So I think that match makes sense. All right. So the next match, and everything everything is title matches from here on out except for one other match. The first match is for the women's tag team titles. I got the team of Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. So I was trying to. I didn't want it to just be a standard tag match. I figured it's got to be like a fatal four way of some kind. And I was trying to figure out which teams should be in, which teams deserve to be in, which teams have had championship matches recently that should not have title matches on this show. So that took out Alexa and Charlotte and Asuka and Kairi. And we recently had the return of the Bella twins. While also Bailey and Lyra have been on the hunt, and Nia and Lash have a lot of momentum right now. So that's why I have a fatal four way with Rio defending against Bailey and Lyra, Nia and Lash, and the Bella Twins. I couldn't just put this in a standard tag match. I don't think that they're going to take the tag titles off of Io and Rhea going into Chamber. I mean, if you are, then you have to put them in a title match for a singles title, and I don't see that happening. So yeah, that's why I put down this fatal four way. Bailey and Lyra deserve this. Bailey especially deserves this, considering that she got cheated out of her Mania spot last year for the Becky return, which I'm sure Becky felt bad about. Obviously, that wasn't her choice. She didn't choose that. Creative chose that. And they've really just treated Bailey like nothing. It's the main reason why I want Bailey to leave WWE and go anywhere else, not TNA. I don't want her to go to TNA. Anywhere but AAA and TNA. But yeah, while Bailey is still here, presumably for another year, her and Lyra have been a good team. I think they basically dropped the split personality thing, which was not working. I mean, at least they're not as heavy-handed about it as they were before. But Bailey and Lyra are a good tag team. Bailey and Lyra deserve to be here. Bailey and Lyra deserve this match. Nia and Lash. Not a big fan of either of them. I get it though. They're the big team, the giants, quote unquote, of the division. Lash is very athletic. Lash has done great work to get better. Nia has not. Everybody can see that. Nia is just Nia. That's not going to change. Nia will always be just Nia. She's never going to be somebody that people are excited. In my opinion, and I'm sure there are people out there that would argue this. I don't think that Nia is ever going to be anybody that people are excited to see. They were at one point, and then she kept hurting people. And then that just went away. So having them as a tag team works because they're, like I said, quote unquote, the giant tag team. And then you have the Bella Twins, who are already Hall of Famers, who have never been in a tag title match since the tag titles have been introduced because they weren't active as a tag team when the tag titles were introduced. So I get why they're here. I stand by my claim that I have said over and over again for years now that Hall of Famers should be ineligible for championship matches. I stand by that. I will remain to stand by that. It will never change, but I stand by that. Once you're a Hall of Famer, you shouldn't have to get more accolades. You're already a Hall of Famer. But I understand why the Bella Twins would want the tag titles because they are the quote unquote original tag team. And were always a tag team except for when they feuded for that one time that nobody liked. And never saw a tag division with a championship while they were active. So it only makes sense to have them in the tag title picture going into Mania. Not saying that this match could be a top 5 match of the show, because it especially won't with Rhea and Nia being in this match, the two worst wrestlers that would be in this match. I just don't see Nia. I just don't see Rio having a straight up tag team match 2-on-2. And I don't see them losing the belts before Mania. I don't think that makes a lot of sense for them to lose those belts before Mania. So they have to defend them here. So yeah, if Io and Rhea go into Mania as champions, do I see them possibly retaining? I honestly am unsure at the moment. They could do something that builds to them eventually feuding, because Rhea still has never beaten Io in a singles match. They could build that to SummerSlam, and losing the titles could be the catalyst for that. And you could just give the Bella Twins their one reign as tag champs and then have somebody like Nia and Lash beat them, or Bailey and Lyra, or another team. But yeah, that's like I said, I just don't see Rhea and Io losing the belts before Mania, so they have to defend them in a multi-team match because there's no other teams big enough for a standard 2-on-2 match, and the Bella Twins are not that. They cannot have a standard 2-on-2 match with the Bella Twins. That just will not work at all, especially for a Mania. All right, the next match is for the women's intercontinental title, which is the secondary singles women's title that they care about because Becky holds it. Becky, this character is getting stale. I understand what she's doing. She's trolling and doing Trump-esque things and heavy-handedly, I guess, mostly to make fun of him. I get that. But I miss when Becky was just a badass who would beat up everybody. And I think after this feud, she should change. There should be a change. Now, they just announced that she's going to face AJ at Elimination Chamber for the Intercontinental title. However, I think that there's going to be a screwy finish in that match, and they're just going to have a rematch here at Mania with some kind of stipulation. What the stipulation is, I assume it'll be like a street fight or an unsanctioned or something along those lines. Because this feud should culminate in a singles match at WrestleMania. It's the biggest match they can do right now for this belt. Um, Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. Now, Natty is shadowing the Intercontinental title right now, but she's feuding with her former tag team partner for some reason with no real explanation. Natty eliminated Becky from the Rumble. So I think Natty will probably get an Intercontinental title shot before Mania. Because I could also see this being a triple threat where Natty is included, but not Maxine. Do not put Maxine in this match. Maxine has had enough Intercontinental title shots. She doesn't need another one. But yeah, I still think it's going to be Becky versus AJ in a singles match. I think something screwy is going to happen at Chamber. AJ's going to want another shot. And it should be the culminating match between the two at WrestleMania. Whoever wins, the feud is over. AJ should win, and Becky should go away for a little and do a character change. Come back as the man, badass character, and stop being a chicken shit heel who complains about everything. And Becky has always been good. Becky has always been great. I mean, she's gotten good matches out of Maxine. That's not going to happen. If Maxine has a singles match with with Ivy, with Ivy, again, it's not going to be on the level of the matches she's had with Becky because Becky has made her look good. I think Natty is also in that realm of making people look good, so she's helped Maxine a lot. But I just don't see Maxine being on this card. I don't see Maxine being in this match. I don't see Natty being in this match, even though it could happen. It could be a triple threat. They just haven't done anything to make me want Natty in this match because Natty's first match was a no contest, which is stupid. But I digress. Should be Becky versus AJ. Make it some kind of street fight or something. Falls count anywhere. Whatever you want to do. Have AJ win. Let her get an IC title. Then Becky goes away for a little while. Does a character change. Comes back as a badass. That's what should happen. Not saying it will, obviously. For all I know, I get none of these correct. But we'll see. All right, next match is for the men's Intercontinental title. Now, I don't like that Dominic has not defended this title once since winning it back at Survivor Series. Survivor Series is in November. It is now February. A precedent has been set multiple times when somebody gets injured for more than 3 months that they get stripped of the title. But they don't seem to care enough to make that a reality in every situation. So Dominic has remained Intercontinental Champion with 0 defenses since winning it back. I hate that. However, another thing I hate is the fact that he just came back and he's in a number 1 contenders match to be in the chamber for the world title. Why? He should be defending his title. The one that he's currently holding. Let's not also forget that he's also the AAA Mega Champion, which I don't think he's defended once since November either. Why do we keep putting champions in opportunities for other titles? Every company does this, and I hate it on both. I hate it on all of them. Focus on the title you're currently holding. Why is Jey Uso in a number 1 contenders match to be in the chamber? He's a tag champion. Why is the Intercontinental Champion in a qualifying match for the Chamber for the world title. He's the Intercontinental Champion. He should be focusing on the Intercontinental Championship. I know that that's not his point. That's not his decision to make. That's Horrible Creative's decision to make. But again, this is what happens when your company is completely creatively bankrupt. That they can't make other credible people to be in a qualifier match for a chamber. That they have to grab a tag champion whose partner just does not care. His partner is just like, hey, yeah, you should qualify for the chamber because blah, 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 you deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. He's a tag champ. He should be focusing on the tag titles. And then you got Dominic, who hasn't wrestled in months and is just in a qualifier for the chamber. What? Regardless of that, obviously, I don't think Dominic is going to qualify for the chamber. That was just a mini rant that needed to be said. Dominic needs to defend the Intercontinental title multiple times, if I'm being honest, but he needs to defend it at WrestleMania. And the way things are going, we talked about Finn Balor earlier. Finn Balor not going to win the world title, and if he does, he's not going to hold it for very long. And a Judgment Day implosion is bound to happen in every direction. But Finn Balor was considerably upset when Dominic told him, you should be focusing on when JD gets back so you guys can win the tag titles. Finn did not like that. But Finn wants to be the world champion, and that's not going to happen. What's the next best thing? The Intercontinental title. Now, should this be a singles match? It can be. I don't want it to be because I want it to be a triple threat that also includes Javon Evans. And I want Javon Evans to win. And I want Finn Balor to completely be done with the Judgment Day after Javon Evans wins because he's done with Dominic, he's done with Liv, he's done with all the nonsense, and he can remain a tag team with JD if he wants. They just don't need to be in the Judgment Day. But I'm done with the Judgment Day. I've been done with the Judgment Day for years now. I don't know why it's still going. I don't know why it's still a thing. It doesn't need to be. Finn Balor should be a singles guy. Dominic should be a singles guy who doesn't need women to help him win matches. And he doesn't need to be the centerpiece of all the women's titles. I hate that as well. Stop putting Liv in women's title situations where Dominic has to be involved. Stop that. Just stop that altogether. So that's why I have this as a triple threat. Javon deserves to be on the card. And I don't really want to see Dominic versus Finn as a singles match, even though I know that Finn could probably make that into a great match. And with it being a triple threat, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of interference, which I also hate. But that's the way I think it should go. I think the Judgment Day should completely disband after Mania. Just completely gone. No more Judgment Day. Liv, if she wants to stick... If they want to stick Dom and Liv together still, they can, I guess. I don't care for that act, but they can if they want. Raquel needs to be done with... We're going to talk about the women's title, so we'll talk more about that. But Dom and Finn, they need to be in this match. They need to get away from the Judgment Day needs to just stop. And Finn needs to stop being okay with things that are happening in the Judgment Day. Finn needs to stop acting like Dom is right and that Dom has a good point and that blah, blah, all of that. Make it stop. It's not needed anymore. It's part of what we've been talking about since the start of this episode. Creatively bankrupt. Do something else. Do something different. Do something that makes people care. People do not care about the Judgment Day anymore. It's an act that does not need to be around anymore. It's gone on long enough. So I don't. If Finn could possibly win this match, but I think Javon should, right? Because as we talked about numerous times on this podcast with Alan, Javon is ready now. Javon has been ready, just like Obafemi. They're ready now. If you put him in an Intercontinental title match, have him win. And then he can have good matches. He can have open challenges for the Intercontinental title, just like Carmelo was doing, just like Ilya was doing for the U.S. title. Carmelo and Ilya for the U.S. title. Make Javon the Intercontinental Champion. Make people on your roster more important. That you are acting like because they are the future that they are not ready now. Javon is ready now. So all of this is a win-win in my book. Disband the Judgment Day completely, make Javon Evans, make everybody else in the Judgment Day do other things. Nobody loses there. Simple. All right. So I mentioned that I was going to talk about Rey Fenix again. And we talked about just a couple of minutes ago about how Jey Uso, for some reason, is in a qualifier for the Elimination Chamber, even though he is a tag champ. Just like he was in the Royal Rumble for some reason, even though he is a tag champ. If you're going to make the Usos a tag team again, make them a tag team again. Stop putting Jey Uso on the side and being like, oh, I was a world champion before, so I'm going to try and do it again while I'm a tag champ. So we could stop caring about the tag titles. What? All right. So the Usos, once again, are the tag team champions. One of the best tag teams in the history of WWE. The New Day, also one of the best tag teams in the history of WWE, have done fuck all since losing the titles after winning them after the Big E turn, because they don't know what to do without Big E to put the story further. So they have just parked the New Day on these commercial break promos where they act like losing the tag titles has been the death of their, like they've been mourning the loss of the tag titles for months, and they've been doing nothing, literally nothing. And they got Grayson Waller just following them around like a puppy dog. And it does not matter. None of it matters. So you should make it matter by just making them a badass heel tag team who doesn't need a hanger-on like Grayson Waller, because they can't figure out what to do with Grayson Waller since he's no longer teaming with Austin Theory. Find something else for Grayson Waller to do. He shouldn't be palling around with the New Day. The New Day should just be badass tag team who win matches, and when it's time, get title shots. Then, all right. So when Penta came in as a singles because Phoenix was still under contract with the other company and couldn't come in at the same time. So Penta was put on Raw, and when Rey Fenix eventually did come in, he was put on SmackDown. Ever since Rey Fenix has come to WWE, he has done nothing. Literally nothing. He was a substitute for Rey Mysterio in WrestleMania last year because Rey Mysterio was injured. He wasn't going to be on WrestleMania if not for that Rey Mysterio injury. Because they don't know what to do with him, because if he's not teaming with his brother, WWE doesn't know how to use him. So they should be teaming, put the Lucha Bros back together and have all three of those teams that I just mentioned, the Usos, the champions, the New Day, and the Lucha Bros, in a triple threat. It's a match everybody wants to see. Everybody wants to see that match. Just do it. It's a big marquee WrestleMania match. All you have to do, because you move people on the brands all the time. People just come and go as they please. You can just move Rey Fenix to Raw and put him and his brother in a tag team. Simple. Because all Rey Fenix has been doing recently is nothing. He's been a lackey for Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, just losing random matches here and there on random shows because, again, the brands don't matter. You act like they do, but they don't. The brands don't matter at all because some people just go to every show, whether they're the tag champs or not, whether they have a title or not, just because you feel like it. So I don't even need an argument to why you could send Rey Fenix to Raw because you don't care to make one. So just send Rey Fenix to Raw, put him in a tag team with his brother, make them immediately credible as a tag team, and just have a triple threat between these three teams. It's easy. It's not hard. That's the match people want to see. But no, you're probably going to do Usos versus New Day as a standard tag and put Penta in the Intercontinental title match and do nothing with Phoenix, right? That's what's going to happen probably. And that's ridiculous. Just make Penta and Phoenix a tag team. They're meant to be a tag team. They're fucking brothers. Make them a fucking tag team. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. I don't know. Try caring about all of your titles. That's not hard either. But what do I know? Right? What do I know? So yeah, Lucha Bros, New Day, Usos. Make it happen. That's a WrestleMania match. You want this WrestleMania to mean something? Put that match on the card. All right. So we got 4 matches left. The next match that I have is the last match that is not a title match, and it's a match that I think is the most up in the air because of injuries. But if it can happen, it will and should happen. And that's Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins. Now, they did that masked man gimmick that brought in Austin Theory that had really no payoff because Austin Theory has just been a fall guy since that has happened. It meant nothing. You could say it means something later and say that he was a soldier for Seth who infiltrated the group or whatever, and he's been passing along information to Seth. Will they do that? I doubt it. Should they do that? Absolutely. Then you had a new masked man attack Braun Breaker in the Rumble. Not even in the Rumble, before he entered the Rumble. And before he entered the Rumble, was stomped on the concrete and just immediately eliminated by Obafemi, which I don't think was a good idea. I hated that because Braun Breaker should have been a favorite to win the Rumble, not to be the first eliminated. Oh, excuse me. But now we have no idea who this new masked man is, probably because if they're waiting for it to be Seth, and we don't know if Seth is going to be cleared. But now Braun Breaker is hurt because he gave himself a hernia flipping over the announce table and is going to be out for a good amount of time. But also, Braun Breaker is a freak in nature and could possibly come back quicker than we expect. So that's why I still have this match down. Because I still think that if it's going to happen, it needs to happen here. It needs to be Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins in a singles. Now, if Seth is cleared by Mania and Braun is not, you could always make that Bronson versus Seth. Don't make it Logan versus Seth because we've seen that already at a Mania. I don't want to see that again. I don't ever want to see that ever again. Just because I think that wouldn't be fair to Seth. But again, that's my personal opinion. Maybe Seth doesn't care, but personally, I don't want to see Seth versus Logan because I don't want to see Logan versus anybody. So make it Braun versus Seth. Again, if Braun is not able to go, make it Bronson versus Seth. Not as that I don't think has that much of an impact in comparison because Braun turned on Seth, and then Bronson helped later. But again, if Braun can't go, then you can't have the match. Obviously, we don't even know if Seth will be able to go by Mania. That's why I we'll see, right? We got to see if both of these guys will be cleared in time for Mania, but it needs to happen. And if it does happen, Braun needs to win because Braun should have beat CM Punk. Because you could have just had Braun versus Roman. Because I didn't need CM Punk versus Roman. You could have also done Braun versus Seth if Seth was cleared before and somehow got a title shot, but that would have been convoluted. So I understand why they're doing what they're doing now. They're doing this Masked Man gimmick again and probably won't do the reveal until Seth is cleared. However, if neither are cleared, obviously then this match is just a wash and you got to find something else to put in here. It could just be something with Bronson, but I presume Seth will be ready. And with the way that Braun heals from injuries, I imagine he'll be back quicker than they expect. Hopefully in time for Mania. Like I said at the top, at time of recording, and this probably will not go out today, but 61 days from WrestleMania. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think Braun versus Seth is just the match that you have to do here. Again, if you can't do it because of injury, that's a whole nother thing, right? All right. Now we're into the big ones. The world titles. We already talked about CM Punk and Roman. The women's championships. Let's start with the WWE Women's Championship. This is going to be a rant. All right. Jade Cargill won the WWE Women's Championship November 1st. Time of recording, it is February 16th. Her first defense was on February 13th. She's had one title defense in 100 days. That is inexcusable. That is, again, the theme of this episode. Very creatively bankrupt of them because they don't know what to do with her. They don't know how to book her, mainly because she's A, not good at wrestling, B, just boring. And it doesn't work for Jade to be the champion when you can't figure out how to use her. So just make her the champion and then not have her defend it for 3 months is crazy. When she wasn't injured, she wasn't doing other things. She was just on the show, not wrestling. And then she went on social media and told people to shut up after she had her first defense. That is not a flex. She can't just decide that, oh, well, here's a title defense, so now you can stop complaining. No. You need to defend the title more. Like every 2 weeks or something, every 3 weeks, to make us care about you being a credible champion. It doesn't make you credible if you don't defend the belt. It doesn't make you look dominant if you don't defend the belt. It makes you look like you're scared to defend the belt. And again, this is not on her completely. Her Twitter stuff is on her. She shouldn't be posting that because it just makes her look stupid. But creative is the problem because they don't know how to make new stars. You got all the big stars in the tag team division when you got all these great talent that you could be building up by winning matches and making people care about them. And we talked about this on the last episode with the Unreal stuff. Apparently, Chelsea Green is not credible enough because it's not believable that she could beat Jade, even though somehow it is believable that Maxine could beat Becky with AJ's help. That's ridiculous. Julia, you made her the US champ, stopped caring about that belt, and now she's just there. Julia could easily be a credible challenger because Julia is amazing at wrestling. There's so much talent, but you don't care enough to build up more talent to make Jade a credible champion, even though the crutches that she has as a wrestler. Because, again, she's not a great wrestler. That's why she can't be in a singles match here. Because it's going to... The only way she can be in a singles match is if it's against Charlotte. Because at least Charlotte could help her to look like a credible opponent. But I don't think that that's the match they are going to do here. I do think that Charlotte is going to be in the match, however. And I think it's going to be a fatal four-way that has Tiffany Stratton, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte Flair. Now, my argument for this. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are doing this thing where they're pretending to be at odds or whatever. They're supposed to be really good friends. They were rivals that became friends, blah, blah, blah. And Charlotte accidentally eliminated Alexa in the Rumble, and that's supposed to like create a rift between them because they're not going for the tag titles right now and shouldn't. And Alexa qualified for the Chamber. So I imagine that Charlotte will at some point also. They're going to, again, whoever wins the Chamber, I imagine will face Jade. And if that person is Charlotte, I still don't think it'll be a singles match because Alexa will find her way in. And Tiffany just came back, and I think that it makes more sense to just have Tiffany in there also. You could argue that you could put Jordan in there, but she just had a singles match that she lost for the title. So I think it just makes the most sense to have a fatal four-way to hide the flaws of Jade Cargill as a wrestler, because you have to keep doing that, because if you want her to be a champion and you want her to get better, she has to want to get better, and she also has to not have singles matches, because her having singles matches showcases that she's not a great wrestler, because she doesn't know how to carry a match as a heel. I'm not an expert. I'm not saying I am, but from what I see, Jade doesn't look like she cares enough to get better. If she says that she does, then she should try to get better. It's not that I want her to fail. I want her to succeed, but she has to want to get better. And it doesn't look like she does. So that's why she can't be in a singles match. And I know that Tiffany lost the belt from Jade. And I don't know. They could do something in the Chamber where Tiffany was close to winning. I just can't. I can't have Jade. Jade can't be in a singles match. She can't. And with Alexa and Charlotte, now, this is something that WWE loves to do. They love to have tag partners feud with each other and then no longer be friends. Why does that need to be the thing? Why does that need to be the norm? If Why can't tag partners just have a mutual agreement like, oh, well, we're both going for the title, but we'll still be friends after? They don't have to hate each other after feuding, or they don't have to hate each other after being in the same match. Even if, like, Charlotte were to pin Alexa, or if Alexa were to pin Charlotte, the better person won. Just have that kind of respect and just move on. They can still be friends. They can still be a tag team down the line. I wish WWE would do that more instead of, oh, well, they're a tag team, but they're in the same match, so they can't be friends after the match is over. Or one of them has to turn on the other because one of them got selfish, Charlotte. It's a trope that I hate. Another trope that I hate that WWE does all the time. And that's why they were never able to build a credible tag team division, because every time they would build up a tag team, they would win the belt, feud with one other team, that team would lose the belt, then they would feud with each other and then never team again. And then you would just have to keep creating tag teams. You should just have constant tag teams, like every tag team division. And if you want to, down the line, put these tag teams in singles action, whether it's against each other or not, then they can go back to being a tag team later. That's what should happen with Alexa and Charlotte. They can both be in this match, they can both not win, and they can both be a tag team together again after the match. No signs of possible turning, no signs of disrespect, no signs of you cost me the world title, so I don't want to be your friend anymore. None of that. Just two people who are a tag team, who are friends, who were in a singles match or in a multi-person match for a singles belt, that are still friends and doesn't get acknowledged after. They just remain friends. Simple. Effective. Not hard. Do that. Does Jade lose the title here? No idea. Should she? Absolutely. But that would mean that Tiffany has to win, and I don't think that Tiffany needs to be the champion right now. So I suspect if this match is the match that happens, Jade will retain. All right. Now we're on to the final two matches. The Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan, of course, won the Royal Rumble. So naturally, the go-to should be a singles match between Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan. However, I don't think that's going to happen. The reason I don't think that's going to happen is because seeds have been planted for Raquel to be very unhappy with Liv. Because Liv got involved in her match for the title when Raquel asked her not to. Liv eliminated Raquel in the Royal Rumble, even though Raquel shouldn't have been in the Rumble because she had a title match lined up already. And if you compare that to the Finn Balor situation, it doesn't make any sense. Because why did Raquel declare for the Rumble if she already had a title shot, but Finn couldn't get a spot? That doesn't make sense at all. So yeah, Raquel was in the Rumble even though she had a title match 2 days later. Got eliminated by Liv, who ended up winning. Then Raquel had that title match, was close to winning, and then Liv got involved, and then Raquel did not win. Even though she explicitly asked Liv and Roxanne not to get involved, and they did. And Raquel tried to acknowledge it, and Liv was like, oh no, we got other things to worry about. We'll talk about this later. But you could tell that Raquel was not happy. So the seeds have been planted. Raquel is not happy with Liv. So the turn is coming. Liv is going to get turned on. Now, should Raquel and Roxanne remain a tag team in that time after Raquel turns on Liv? I don't know. That Could happen. I'd be okay with that. However, I put down a fatal four-way here. Stephanie Vaquer defending against Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne in a fatal four-way. Now, there's an easy way to get Roxanne in this match. Very easy, actually. Because months ago, when Naomi had to vacate because she went away to have a baby, Stephanie Vaquer was already the number one contender. So they needed to make a new number one contender to face her to crown the champion. That ended up being Io Sky. Roxanne beat Io in that time before the title match, and it never got acknowledged again. So you can easily just have Roxanne build up matches, win matches, maybe pin Liv, pin Stephanie in a tag match, after interference, of course. And then you immediately have a reason to have Roxanne in the title match. Raquel is going to want to be involved because of Liv. Now, again, it could easily just be Stephanie versus Liv, and that's fine because Stephanie's the champ and Liv won the Rumble. I don't see Stephanie losing the belt before Mania. That just doesn't make sense. That would be not fair to Stephanie at all. And if that's the case, then Stephanie has to be involved in something else because she has to be on the card. It just doesn't make sense. So that's why I have a fatal four-way. It could easily be a singles. It could easily be a triple threat between Liv, Raquel, and Stephanie. And Roxanne gets the boot again because they don't seem to care about Roxanne, which is crazy because she's the best wrestler out of the Judgment Day. She is the best wrestler of the females. She's not better than Stephanie, but she's definitely better than Raquel and Liv. Yeah. I think it's just I just think it's the best way to have the Judgment Day implosion, to have all of them in the match. And again, it's very possible it's just a triple threat and Raquel and Roxanne just remain a tag team. That is okay as well. But I would prefer to see the Fatal 4-Way because I think Roxanne deserves to be in there. Just because she's great. She deserves it. So that's what I have down. I still think Liv is going to win, even if it is a Fatal 4-Way. Liv winning the Rumble, you could also, because if it is a multi-person match, you could have her pin Raquel or pin Roxanne. She doesn't have to pin Stephanie. And that's fine, I guess. I just don't see Stephanie walking out as the champion at Mania, but she has to walk into Mania as the champion. She can't lose the belt before Mania. She can't. That's just not fair to her. But yeah, I again could easily just be Stephanie versus Liv. If that's the case, then I think if it is just Stephanie versus Liv, then I think Raquel is going to cost Liv the match. But either way, I just don't see with all of the stuff that's building here with Raquel and Liv and Roxanne by proxy, that just make it a Fatal 4-Way with all of them. I would just prefer to see that. All right. So that brings us to the last match that I have. We already talked about the Night 2 main event, presumably CM Punk versus Roman. So that brings us to the WWE Championship match. Now, reports have this match reports are saying that this match is going to be Drew versus Cody in a straight-up singles. We've seen that match 6 times already. I don't need to see that match again. However, recently Jacob Fatu has stepped up in a big way since coming back from injury. Don't like what they did with the cage match. I hated the ending of that cage match. Absolutely hated it. because it made everybody look stupid except Drew. The night that Drew won the belt, of course, was the return of Jacob Fatu, where he attacked Drew. However, while he was attacking Drew, Cody was like, "What the fuck are you doing? I don't need your help." And then Jacob started attacking Cody. So while Jacob was attacking Cody, Drew just escaped the cage, which I hate because I hate escape rules in cage matches. It should be pinfall submission only. But yeah, then Cody blamed Jacob instead of blaming himself for being stupid enough to fall for that. Which doesn't make Cody look good at all. I love Cody, but makes him look horrible. Makes him look like an idiot. Why'd you blame Jacob? Jacob was beating up Drew. You could have just won. You could have did exactly what Drew did. Just walked out of the cage while Jacob was beating up Drew. Easy. Instead, you blamed Jacob and attacked him for some reason. That made Cody look really stupid. Then, they were supposed to have a match at Saturday night's main event. That did not happen because they just brawled throughout the arena before the bell rang. So why did you promote a match if you were just going to do a brawl that resulted in nothing? And it wasn't even an interesting brawl. It was just a waste of time. Then you had Sami Zayn do this promo where he talked about how his son wondered why he'd never been a world champion. And he wanted to challenge Drew in Saudi Arabia, which he did. And he did not win. And Sami should already have been a world champion. It's no question. Like, he's over as fuck. He's a great wrestler. Everybody loves him. But because they have this thing where Cody has to go over all the time, they're just going to have Cody win the chamber and then have a singles match between Cody and Drew for the 7th time that nobody wants to see, especially at Mania. I love Cody and I love Drew. I don't want to see that match again. Ever. Not for like years. That's why it needs to be a multi-man match. Whether it's a triple threat with just Jacob or a fatal 4-way with Sami and Jacob, which is what I'm putting down. Drew McIntyre defending against Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, and Sami Zayn. Because Sami Zayn needs to be on this card. This is where he deserves to be. Even though he just lost to Drew, the argument can be made that he shouldn't have lost to Drew. He probably should have won. But I get it. They want to give Drew a considerable run, I guess. That's fine. But that's another thing. Like, they acknowledged on commentary multiple times during that match that Sami has never beaten Drew in like 12 matches. Which, at that point, like, why even do it? But, yeah. I think this needs to be a fatal 4-way. I think Cody needs to stop blaming people for his problems. Cody needs to own up to the fact that he lost that match because of himself and nobody else, because it just makes him look stupid. Very clearly, Cody is showing heel tendencies lately, but they probably won't go with the full heel turn because they're going to treat it. Shit. Well, I don't know when I got muted. I'll have to figure that out. I just noticed. But yeah, I was saying that I think Cody needs to stop acting like he did nothing wrong. Needs to stop blaming other people. Again, I don't know when I got muted. I only just noticed it when I noticed it. So if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. However, Cody needs a heel turn. Probably won't get one because he's so over with fans. And yeah, I just want things to be different. I want them to actually try. I want them to actually care about other people other than Cody. Because they're just rehashing what they did with John Cena in the 2010s, late 2000s, early 2010s, where John Cena has to go over all the time. Cody has to go over all the time. Cody has to be in the world title match at WrestleMania. Has to. Like, why? Why can't Cody do something else? Why can't there just be 1 year where he's not in the title picture at WrestleMania? Because the only time he hasn't been in the title picture since WrestleMania was when he returned at 38. He's been in the title picture every year at Mania since 39, 40, 41, and now probably 42. Do something different. But regardless of that, that is all I have. We'll see what happens. If this match happens, I think Drew is going to retain. I don't think it's the right time for Drew to lose it. Sammy definitely won't win this match if he's in it. I would love if Jacob did. Honestly, that would be the dark horse for me. Jacob winning this match by pinning Cody. That would be the best because it would make Jacob. But I doubt that's going to happen. I think Drew is probably going to retain if this is the match that happens. So regardless of all of that, I want to say that I'm excited for WrestleMania, but I'm just not. I put together a card just because this is what I do every year. I love the fantasy book stuff, and I tried to make it as reasonable as possible because I can't just fantasy book like shit that's not going to happen. That's definitely not going to happen. I would love to do that too, but I try to make a realistic card, and I think I did here. Again, most of the time when I do this stuff, I get 1 or 2 correct, maybe 3. Never more than that for sure. But we'll see what happens. So that is going to do it for me, guys. Thanks once again for listening, watching. Make sure to go to our Linktree / Going Over Big Time podcast. Has all the ways you can watch and listen to this podcast, support this podcast on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, on YouTube. Like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching or listening. Thank you for everything. So that is going to do it for me. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.